break from splay for an excursion to introduce online algorithms, or the terminology around online algorithms. And then we'll come back to splay from that angle. This is only scratching the surface of a very lovely whole area that you could do an entire module on. What I'm trying to get across is just one or two pieces of terminology, and maybe pique your interest, but then for another time. An online problem, the terminology is a bit kind of dated. It's got nothing to do with World Wide Web online. It's just being online means you get things over time and you don't have a chance to do somehow perfect optimization up front before things start. So it's an algorithmic problem where the input is revealed over time, but also you have to produce output along the way. There's many things in real life that have an online flavor in this sense. Any kind of trading, you don't know the future, so you have to decide on the past. You don't know what happens, but you have to either do something now, do a trade now or not. Many scheduling problems have a flavor of online, that jobs arrive and you have to decide now which core to put it on. You may be able to move jobs again later at some cost, but you can't entirely see the future. So it's very widely spread. And if you think about it in data structures, it's actually the default mode of thinking. Usually we think in terms of data structures as there's one update or one operation at a time. We don't know what's going to happen in the future. We have to brace ourselves for whatever happens. So it's very close or very dear to our heart in this module. Nevertheless, maybe it's worth to stress that this is the fact. This is the case. And of course, there's an opposite, namely if problems of this sort are online, any problem where you have the entire input, the entire information up front is an offline problem. Now you can turn any online problem into an equivalent offline problem where you're given the future in advance. That may be unrealistic, but hypothetically you could say, let's do that. Okay, now let's look at a specific problem and see why this notion I'm trying to introduce in a second is dearly needed, or something of that sort is dearly needed. Very real life problem. You're walking into a building, you know you have to go K floors up. The whole thing, to make the numbers nice, assumes you're a slow walker or it's very high floors. You could take the stairs and that takes you 1 minute per floor. So if you start taking the stairs, another K minutes later you arrive where you wanted to go. But you could also take the elevator. So you go in and press the button, but then, as always, we don't really know. And suppose this is a old school elevator like in our building. There's not much feedback apart from noises. You don't know if it's going up or down or which floor it currently is in. So you can only press the button and hope and wait. Once the elevator arrives, it's much faster than you walking. So in 1 further minute, it brings you to the floor that you want to go to. If the elevator comes for the wrong direction and so on, that's part of the waiting, so you don't enter. Simple setup. Now the question is, what should you do? If you enter the building, should you wait or should you take the stairs? Let's make the following assumption, that at least there is some upper bound on the wait time. It's guaranteed that you're not going to wait forever. I guess not a hard to justify assumption in real life if B is big enough. But we assume that usually it's the upper bound, you know for sure, is much larger than the time it would have taken you to walk. But it could be that the actual wait time is much shorter. We just don't know. That's the online part. So if you decide to take the elevator, then you have to wait for W minutes and 1 further minute for the elevator to bring you to the floor. Setup clear? So what should you do? Any suggestions? There's the obvious strategies, of course. Forget about the elevator, I'm impatient, I just walk. It's healthy anyways. You could also do the opposite and just wait. That's the lazy approach. I think the only sensible other strategy is to say, I'm going to give it X minutes and then decide to walk. But how long do I wait? Of course, these are special cases of this, right? Where the waiting time you give it is 0 or infinite, or b. What would you do? This is a personality question as much as this an algorithmic one. Yeah, it's the health benefits. Life is not one-dimensional. The point is a bit, it's not, oh, the dimensions I meant is the total time it takes you to get to the target is one dimension, and we're solely focusing on that. We ignore the health dimension, right? Or maybe there's other like I don't know. Maybe you don't want to be stuck with people in an elevator, or the staircase always stinks, or there's life has many facets. The thing with just this framing, it's not really clear what you should do, because neither the target is clear, nor do you have enough information to do anything sensible. Unfortunately, that's quite typical. Like if you had some assumption about the distribution of the waiting time, say it's, I don't know, normally distributed around 5 minutes, then you could work based on that. But often this is not so realistic, or you want to build a solution that's resilient against even more adversarial scenarios. Then it's not clear what the yardstick should be. And that's the point of this section. People came up with a specific yardstick. It's not perfect. It's not the only thinkable one. But it doesn't need many assumptions. I think that's the main benefit. And it gives you very robust guarantees. It's a worst case resilient choice in a way. Okay. But it is a bit awkward. First of all, let's formally model the problem that we are faced here with as an online problem in the sense I sketched before. What are the inputs that are revealed? Well, you could say at each point in time, I'm told whether the elevator arrived or not. So this is just the definition in general, right? The input consists of a sequence of requests, or a sequence of, requests sounds like scheduling and fits the data structure view. An online algorithm only has access to all the requests up to the current time t, and has to produce from that some output. And that output has happened, so you can't really revisit these choices. And the total cost on some request sequence X is the cost of the entire sequence of our outputs. In general, it could be a complicated function of whatever we do. In our elevator example, it's not that complicated. So for us, the input is whether or not the elevator arrives at time t. Suppose it only comes at intervals after integral number of minutes. You could have a finer grained model if you prefer. It doesn't matter much. And our output is whether or not we leave now and take the stairs. Okay. So the model fits this general setup. And the yardstick that people came up with is called competitive analysis, or competitive ratio. And for that, we compare our poor online algorithm that has only the information up to now to some overly powerful optimal algorithm, where this always means the optimal offline solution. If you had known from the beginning the entire input, in our case, when the elevator comes, but in general problems, a much richer input, and you could have taken, is also not restricted on how much time you take. You could take any exponential time algorithm to figure out the optimal way to react to that. Then you compare yourself against this very strong adversary. In our concrete problem, it's quite clear what we should do. The optimum clearly takes the minimum of the two options, namely either walk directly. There's no point in waiting and then walking. I mean, as an online algorithm, there may be a point where this is sensible, but hard to imagine. Psychologically, maybe, but either you commit to waiting a certain time and then walk or not. But the optimum never has to wait and then walk. Either it's worth waiting for the elevator or not. So that's the cost here. And the competitive analysis says, let's take the ratio. How much do you pay in your online algorithm compared to, on the same input, the optimal offline algorithm? And both of these components are crucial. So we take the ratio on a specific input, which means if the input is somehow just harsh, there's no good way to solve it, even if I had known the entire future in advance, then I shouldn't penalize my poor algorithm for doing poorly on this input, because there was no better way. But if somehow, with a bit more foresight, it could have done much better, then it should pay for that. And the maximum is worst case as usual, if we don't say anything else. So we take the worst possible input for that ratio. That's the competitive ratio of an algorithm. And if that ratio is C, then we also briefly say the algorithm is C competitive. And this always means this comparison, worst case overall inputs against this overly powerful optimal offline algorithm that knows the future. Let's analyze some of our simple algorithms from before, where this calculation is very easy. The algorithm, directly take the stairs, never ever wait, always has cost k, no matter when the elevator comes. That's k. And we divide by the cost of the optimum. That's always this minimum. But now we have, for the competitive ratio, the worst input. So we have to take the maximum of this fraction for all possible waiting times. Well, and that turns out to be k if the elevator comes right after we left, right? We should have stayed a split second longer, but yeah, we're already through the door. Then it takes us k times as long as the optimal to reach the floor. On the other hand, if we always wait, so we never take the stairs, our cost is always w plus 1, and we divide by the same thing. This clearly is worst if the elevator makes us wait forever. Then our cost is essentially b, and the optimum would have been to just take the stairs straight away. Can we do better? So we have k and b over k. Assume b is 5 million times k, right? This is clearly nonsense. So this is the best we have so far in general. Can we do better? Stupid question. I wouldn't ask if the answer was no, right? The general algorithm that makes sense as an online algorithm is still very simple. We have some waiting time t where it's not so clear what the best waiting time is. But suppose we fix that waiting time. So if the elevator comes before time t, then we're lucky, we hop on. And otherwise, well, we've wasted time t to wait and still have to walk. Tough luck. So we can analyze the optimal choice of that for the competitive ratio. I mean, this is sensitive to what you want to do. But if your goal is to have the best competitive ratio, then the best t you should choose is the one that minimizes this maximum. Sounds harsh, but really it's not that bad, because if you insert here, there's always going to be a certain sweet spot. The best waiting time is k. You wait as long as it takes you to walk. If that's kind of the worst case, that you walk after exactly this time, then you would have taken time 2k. But the optimal also would have needed, in this case, at least k. It would start walking right at the beginning. So you're a factor 2 off, and you can work out going through the cases that's the worst. If you pick t equals k, then 2 is the worst factor that you ever see over the different waiting times. And no other t is better in all cases. That's not good. Still works. Okay. If you've seen online algorithms somewhere else, the same problem is also sometimes called the ski rental problem. The framing is different, but it's the same problem. the story is you're going skiing and you don't own skis, so you can either rent them by the day, or you on the first day decide to buy some skis. But you don't know how long you can stay. It's a bit of an awkward holiday. You stay as long as there's snow. And it might be that the melt starts tomorrow, then if you bought your skis, you're left with this useless chunk of equipment that you can never reuse or resell. I think the version with the elevator is a bit more natural. In this area, there's lots of interesting, cool problems. So here's just a very short list to mention a couple. We've already mentioned this that was the context I brought up the question about online algorithms before in move to front. Now let's state the actual result there. You can prove under a certain model if you have this linear list, and all you're allowed to do is swaps in a way. So if you walk into the list, you're allowed to take an element with you closer to the front, or you can pay extra to take it further to the back of the list. Under this model, you can show that move to front is for competitive against any potential offline algorithm. A twist here is that if you take a more general cost model that is maybe more realistic, that allows you to rearrange the list more freely, then no constant competitive algorithm can possibly exist. The offline algorithm is just overly powerful then. So it's sensitive to the model. It's not quite working. Okay. Also mentioned this paging problem. This is essentially maintaining a cache optimally with the optimal eviction strategy. Least recently used is K competitive in this sense, where K is the size of the cache. Many other problems of this sort.